Matt? What was that?
She only wanted to film a paranormal documentary, but this girl ended up encountering the legendary Cthulhu horror, the skinwalker. The ancient god appeared in the cave in an indescribable form. In just a flash, one unlucky participant was devoured to the bone. However, the survivors didn't realize that the creature's favorite act wasn't eating people, it was skinning them. This is Malibu Horror Story, the latest 2025 Cthulhu-inspired thriller. The movie was originally released in 2023, but for unknown reasons, the official version didn't come out until 2025. In a cave deep within Malibu Canyon, California, a team specializing in supernatural investigations was setting up their equipment. After confirming that the lighting and gear were ready, director Josh picked up his camera and host Ashley began the shoot. Ashley first introduced the night's topic. They were going to investigate a paranormal event. To see if the cave held any spirits, she pulled out a strange-looking device. It was equipped with the latest ultrasonic detector that could reveal things invisible to the human eye. Once activated, the device would trigger a high-speed camera to record at 300 frames per second. The reason this crew chose this cave was that several years ago, a mysterious disappearance had occurred there. About 7 years earlier, 4 teenagers had gone camping in the canyon to celebrate graduation, but they vanished without a trace. At first, everyone thought it was just a typical missing person case, and rescue teams were quickly sent out to search. But as the search went on, the police realized something was very wrong. Not far from the campsite, detectives found a blood-stained camera hidden in the grass, and the campsite itself had been destroyed by human hands. Investigators tried to recover footage from the camera, but when they opened it, most of the video was corrupted. Only a small portion was still viewable. That small portion showed the teenagers desperately running, as if something was chasing them. Given the signs of struggle and the footage itself, local police suspected the teens had been attacked by a wild animal. Yet after months of searching around the canyon, no traces were found. Not even their bodies. The bizarre case soon made headlines across the country. But what captured the public's attention wasn't the disappearance itself. It was a local legend tied to the area. Apparently, this wasn't the first time people had vanished there. Over the past decades, hundreds of people had gone missing in the same region. The cause, locals said, was linked to strange tunnels. Malibu Canyon, located in the northwestern Santa Monica Mountains of California, was once home to several Native American tribes. Because of disputes over territory and hunting grounds, conflicts often broke out between tribes, and some practiced human sacrifice. For centuries, life went on relatively peacefully, until the 19th century, when the native people were driven away. A wealthy man named Torrance, who had made his fortune selling hair oil, bought over 1,400 acres of land near the canyon. He forcibly expelled the natives and built a pier on the coast below the canyon, planning to turn the area into a harbor. As the docks were built, workers and their families settled nearby, forming a small town. With the population growing, tourism in the surrounding area also began to flourish. While exploring the hills, residents discovered that the canyon contained many tunnels and caves. These tunnels bore clear signs of excavation and were marked with tribal symbols. At first, people assumed they were simple shelters once used by the natives, but as exploration continued, they were astonished to find that there were over a dozen tunnels, and though their entrances were far apart, they all connected underground with uncanny precision. Inside, explorers found human remains and traces of ritual activity. After careful study, experts concluded that the tunnels had been dug over hundreds or even thousands of years, likely for burial and ceremonial purposes. Their discovery attracted curious tourists and thrill seekers who ventured inside to explore. But the tunnels were vast and maze-like, filled with countless paths and intersections. Even professional explorers could easily get lost. Tragedies soon followed. Some who entered were never seen again. Rescue teams were sent in, but even they lost their way inside. What's worse, some rescuers claimed they saw eerie, inhuman figures in the dark. Some people said they saw a creature walking in a strange, unnatural way. Others described it as having 4 arms. These bizarre accounts spread quickly through the community. Workers began recalling an old local legend. It was said that Torrance never truly drove the natives away. Instead, he slaughtered them and hid their bodies in the mountains. The creature seen by the rescue team was believed to be the vengeful spirit of the natives. The legend grew wilder as it spread from person to person. To prevent more people from entering the tunnels, authorities eventually sealed off the area as a protected zone. But the more they tried to restrict access, the more adventurers came. The 4 teenagers who vanished at the beginning of the film were among them. Coincidentally, one of them, Jack, was a descendant of Torrance himself. Many online speculated that the Torrance family had been cursed by the spirits of the natives. Though the internet was filled with theories, none could prove that the creature truly existed. But 7 years after the incident, a man named Josh accidentally came across a memory card. Inside that card was the footage recorded by the camera used by the 4 teenagers who vanished 7 years ago. Josh was a paranormal enthusiast who ran a show on social media, often traveling around the world to film supernatural events. With the help of special software, Josh managed to repair part of the damaged footage. By watching what was restored, they pieced together what had happened before and after the teens disappeared. 7 years earlier, the 4 boys had decided to go camping on the top of the canyon to celebrate their high school graduation. But the road leading to the top was blocked by an iron gate. Although the car couldn't pass, they could still climb the hill on foot. Carrying their backpacks, the 4 of them took a narrow trail and reached the mountaintop before nightfall, where they set up camp. While everyone was busy, one of them, a boy named Carlos, took a box of mushrooms out of his bag. Starving, he ate the entire box by himself. But not long after eating the mushrooms, he began vomiting and had severe diarrhea. His friends quickly realized Carlos might have been poisoned. Carter tried to call for help, but there was no signal on the mountaintop. Jack suggested they take Carlos back down, but the path was too steep and night was approaching fast. Once it got dark, they wouldn't be able to see the trail. Luckily, Carlos's symptoms didn't last long. About half an hour later, he stopped throwing up and seemed a bit better. Believing the danger had passed, the others told Carlos to rest in the tent and wait until morning to go down the mountain. However, later that night, something strange happened again. Carlos said there was a monster in the forest, but when his friends searched, they didn't find anything unusual. They all thought he was just hallucinating from the mushrooms, but Carlos insisted he really saw something moving among the trees. While they were still confused, Carlos suddenly screamed and ran into the forest. Worried something might happen to him, the others immediately chased after him. Pushing through a dense patch of bushes, they saw Carlos run straight into a cave. But when the 3 of them followed him inside, he was gone. The cave was dark and eerie, and fear began to creep in. Just as they were about to leave, they turned and saw Carlos sitting shirtless in the corner. Jack was about to approach him when a horrifying growl echoed through the cave, and the ground suddenly collapsed. The normal footage ended there, but there was still another section of the video, though it was badly corrupted, and would take more time to repair. Even though the footage seemed ordinary, Josh's sharp eye told him the teens probably weren't buried alive by the cave-in. They must have escaped and returned to their campsite. But how did they vanish after that? Determined to uncover the truth behind the disappearance and to make a great episode, Josh decided to travel to the canyon to film. He brought along host Ashley, assistant Jessica, and cameraman Matt, leading to the events seen at the beginning of the movie. Using the recovered footage as a guide, they found the same cave the 4 teenagers had entered before disappearing. The cave showed clear signs of human excavation, and there were tribal paintings on the walls. Since the tunnels inside were complex and dangerous, they didn't dare go too deep. They set up camp at the entrance and decided to film there. Once everything was ready, they sat in a circle while Ashley lit a candle to begin a summoning ritual.
Boys came up here and were never heard from again. Do you know what happened to them? We have come to speak with you. We know you are here. Use this spirit box to communicate with us.
Watching the spinning device, they pretended to have actually summoned something supernatural. In truth, Josh had secretly activated the equipment himself. The readings were fake. It was all part of the show. But as the shoot was about to end, something unexpected happened. The detector suddenly picked up a signal and began flashing.
Was that?
Hearing strange noises echo from the cave, Josh assumed it was just a prank Matt had set up earlier. But Matt quickly denied it, saying he hadn't done anything. Hearing that, everyone froze. If it wasn't Matt, then where did those sounds come from? Jessica guessed it might have been the wind. When she reviewed materials earlier, she noticed that the cave's tunnels were interconnected, and when air passed through, it could create strange noises. Her explanation calmed them down, and they prepared to shoot the next scene. However, when Matt checked the footage, he noticed strange interference, random visual distortions across the frame. He immediately told the others. Seeing the glitch, Ashley came up with a possible explanation. Thankfully, the corrupted sections were limited to only part of the footage. Josh told Jessica to try editing what they had, and if it didn't work, they could reshoot later. After a long day, everyone was exhausted. Matt opened a bottle of non-alcoholic wine and poured each of them a glass. As they chatted and relaxed, Jessica finished editing the clip. Though some sections were still distorted, she was surprised to find that the glitchy images somehow fit perfectly with their show's eerie style. After confirming that the footage looked fine, Josh turned around and went back to his tent. But just as he lay down to rest, Matt rushed in and told him that the rest of the corrupted video had been restored. Reluctantly, Josh got up and followed him to Jessica's tent. Yet the moment they saw the recovered footage, everyone froze in disbelief. On the screen, after the cave collapse, they were seen running in terror toward the other end of the tunnel. But halfway through, they noticed a tall, muscular man standing in the cave. The man looked strangely familiar. He resembled Carlos. Jessica paused the video and slowed it down. When the man's face came into view, everyone went silent. It really was Carlos, but his body looked completely different. He was taller, stronger, and had long hair. Just a few minutes earlier, Carlos had a short buzz cut. Seeing his new appearance, Ashley suddenly remembered something. She pulled out an old book and opened it to a page. The book described an evil spirit that looked exactly like Carlos in the footage. Even though they were all paranormal enthusiasts, as filmmakers they knew there were no such things as real evil spirits. If such things truly existed, how could people who do terrible deeds still live peacefully? Josh speculated that Carlos's sudden transformation might have been caused by the mushrooms. He once read that certain types of mushrooms not only cause hallucinations but can also make the body swell and deform. That could explain Carlos's strange change. Although the theory sounded unbelievable, they didn't think much of it. Jessica continued playing the video. The footage showed Jack and the others escaping the cave through a tunnel. But just as they reached the outside, a frenzied Carlos suddenly burst out after them and grabbed Carter. Seeing Carter dragged away, Jack and Tyler froze in shock. To rescue him, they rushed back into the cave. But the moment they entered, a horrifying scene appeared before their eyes. Carlos was tearing open Carter's abdomen and feasting on him. While Jack and Tyler stood paralyzed with fear, Carlos suddenly vanished again. Before Jack could react, a terrible scream echoed beside him. He turned and saw that Tyler had disappeared, leaving only a trail of blood on the ground. Following the trail, Jack saw Carlos crouched over, gnawing at Tyler's body. The horrifying sight terrified him, and he stumbled out of the cave in panic. The footage ended abruptly there. The sudden ending shocked everyone. Jessica quickly stopped the playback, too scared to continue watching. Ashley then recalled what she had read about the native tribes in the canyon. In their records, she remembered that the tribes used to perform rituals to worship an ancient dark god. Could it be that the god they worshipped was the same skinwalker mentioned in the old book? Fear crept over her, and she wanted to stop the filming. Matt and Josh were also starting to feel uneasy. Just as Josh was hesitating about whether to call it off, the receiver on the table began flashing rapidly.
Did you see anything?
Hearing strange noises echoing from the cave, the frightened Ashley hid inside her tent. But the moment she crawled in, a dark shadow suddenly appeared inside the cave. The shadow grabbed the tent and dragged Ashley away. Seeing this, Matt grabbed a lantern and ran after her. Jessica and Josh, realizing what had happened, followed close behind. But shortly after entering the tunnel, they got separated. Meanwhile, Ashley, who had been dragged deeper into the cave, was thrown onto a flat, rocky area. She carefully crawled out of the tent and saw nothing around her. Panicking, she began running through the tunnels trying to find the others. Fortunately, she hadn't been dragged far. At a junction, she ran into Josh and Jessica. Seeing Ashley safe, they finally breathed a sigh of relief. They continued walking deeper into the cave, hoping to find Matt. But after searching through the tunnels, they still couldn't find any trace of him. Just then, a terrified scream echoed through the cave. The group followed the sound deeper inside, but when they reached a corner, they found two separate tunnels ahead. Since the scream had already stopped, they had no idea which direction Matt had gone. After thinking it over, Josh decided to split up. He told Ashley and Jessica to take the tunnel on the left while he explored the one on the right, and they agreed to meet back at the entrance in 10 minutes, whether they found Matt or not. But after walking only a short distance, Josh's light stick went out, forcing him to switch on his camera and use its thermal imaging to look around. As he turned a corner, the screen showed a heat signature not far away.
Matt! Matt, is that you? Oh no.
When Josh saw the strange figure of Matt, he froze in shock. But when he looked back down at the camera again, Matt had vanished from the display. Panicked, Josh lifted the camera and searched the cave frantically. As his lens swept across the wall, he noticed a red handprint smeared on the rock beside him. That meant someone had just touched that spot. Feeling something was very wrong, Josh slowly turned around, only to see a horrifying sight. Meanwhile, Ashley and Jessica had no idea what had happened to Josh. They kept walking forward through their tunnel, only to find themselves back at the same campsite they had set up earlier. It turned out the two tunnels were connected. Worried they might get lost, they decided to stay put and wait for Josh to return. But as they were about to rest, the camera they had left at the entrance suddenly turned on, as if it had detected movement. Ashley thought maybe Josh or Matt had come back, so they walked toward the entrance to check. When they got closer, the flashing light revealed a strange figure standing in front of them.
What was that?
Seeing that it was Matt, Jessica froze in disbelief. Thankfully, Ashley reacted quickly and ran to pull Matt away, but he was too strong and shoved her to the ground. In panic, Jessica's hand brushed against a piece of bone on the ground. She grabbed it and stabbed it hard into the creature's chest. Wounded, the creature staggered backward and walked away on its own. Jessica turned around and saw Ashley unconscious on the floor. But as she looked back again, the creature reappeared right behind her. Jessica reacted instantly and drove the bone into it again. The creature struggled for a moment, then fell still on the ground. When Jessica approached to check, she was horrified to see that the creature was actually Matt. She didn't understand what was happening, but this wasn't the time to think about it. Supporting the injured Ashley, Jessica tried to lead her out of the cave. The exit was clearly straight ahead, yet no matter how far they walked, they couldn't find their way out. Just as Jessica began to panic, they spotted someone lying on the ground, not far away. When she came closer, she saw it was Josh, and his skin was completely gone. The gruesome sight terrified Jessica and Ashley, and they stumbled forward in panic, but after passing through another tunnel, they found themselves back at the campsite again. Exhausted, Jessica and Ashley leaned against the cave wall to catch their breath. Neither of them noticed that a dark mark had appeared on Jessica's cheek. Before Jessica could react, the injured Ashley suddenly attacked her. In the end, a missing persons notice for the four of them appeared on the town's newspaper. And that was the story of the Malibu Tapes, the latest 2025 horror thriller. Well, that's all for today's story. See you next time.